So I'm a few videos in, 3 videos to be exact, and I feel like a freaking loser. Absolutely overwhelmed, dejected, demotivated. I don't even know if I can continue. Am I wasting my time? This was a pointless endeavor. That was literal words from a journal entry that I wrote when I was absolutely devastated by the results of my 3rd video. As you can see, in my first 3 days, it did under 30 views. Not sure if some of y'all think that is good, some of y'all think that is bad. The thing is, if I learned anything from my first business where I scaled an e-commerce business to 7 figures in sales, is that there's constantly high moments and low moments, high moments and low moments. And I know that if you clicked on this video and watch, you know just how devastating some of these really low moments feel, especially when you're in the thick of it, you're alone with your thoughts that feel very real. It's sometimes hard for you to zoom out, take a look at the big picture. So in this video, I want to share some of my reflections, like things that I just really analyzed and thought deeply about like just how to navigate these incredibly low, turbulent moments and how to like get back up quicker and just like keep pushing even when you're fighting major internal resistance. So here is the thing. The other day, I was talking to a student of mine, and she said, pressure is a privilege. And I was like, that is gold. I just want to show how much of a privilege it is and how actually as entrepreneurs, we do not have that privilege of that pressure. You see, most of us have probably embarked on this entrepreneur journey because we were trying to get out of the typical career paths, the 9 to 5, or we didn't want to work in someone else's system and infrastructure. Now, there's many different reasons people do not want to be a part of that world anymore, but I'm guessing one of them is because you want to make your own hours. You want to control your own schedule. But that is actually both a blessing and a curse. Because believe it or not, it is that infrastructure, that system that actually keeps demotivation and overwhelm in check for a lot of people. For example, when you are part of another person's system, naturally in that sort of infrastructure and hierarchy, there is accountability. There is pressure built into that, meaning you need to deliver on a deadline. Because if you don't, your higher up, your boss is going to be grilling you the next day, or your teammates are just going to lose it with you, right? So, because of all that pressure, it just forces you and forces your mind to just like boom, cinch it in. Like your mind doesn't even have time to even allow yourself to get demotivated, dejected, overwhelmed. The external pressure forces you to get your shit together. For me, for instance, I poured a lot of time into this video, into my other videos. I do not have a guarantee that it is going to give me the results that I want, but I need to move with a lot of conviction forwards in order for me to get it done. There's no guardrails around to keep me accountable, and there's no pressure to keep these swirly whirly emotions locked up. So now that we understand that pressure is a privilege and that sometimes when we're on this entrepreneur creator journey that we do not have that privilege of pressure, what is the next step? So the first thing is to be really aware of what does self-sabotaging thoughts and actions look like in your world. Spiraling for me is me just like overworking something, like over perfecting and just like getting too much into the weeds. Because when you are aware, you're going to start getting faster at like just snapping out of it. And you start to see it as not really yourself. Like, I know intimately how it feels in my body when panic starts to set in. And so I'm much better now at like separating myself from that and me just going, oh, that like the panic is starting. The panic is starting. But just like how plumbers don't have only one tool in the toolbox, sometimes you need another tool in the toolbox. And the second tool is just me stepping into a new character. A character that understands the rules of the game and wants to win. So, one thing that I've observed and I do think is true is that life is a game of filtration. Like, I know this doesn't sound very like, inspiring, everyone can do it. Yes, sometimes we need to accept that like there are winners and there are losers. And in a weird way, it actually like pushes you. So tool number 2 that I use is that I really step into like the winner character. I'm like, I'm gonna win. And I'm not going to be filtered out. Life is not going to filter me out. So, to kind of like backtrack on why I think life is a game of filtration, is that if we take, for example, school, back when I was pursuing medicine, I noticed that the path, how it was laid out, was truly designed to just filter out the best, the people who can really last in the game of medicine. If you went to school, you know things just get progressively harder. And I noticed that when I was pursuing medicine, people who were in years 1 and 2, it was easy. They kind of went through years 1 and 2. But one of the filter classes was a class called organic chemistry. It's incredibly difficult topic for a lot of people, and a lot of people would fail out or think that class was too hard and they would just quit medicine. So that is a filtration step. And as you continue along the journey, there's just more filtration steps. Like you need to take your MCAT, your medical college admissions test, and it was like an 8-hour exam. It was a highly involved exam. I remember that I had to study like a whole year for it, and the last like 3 months it was just me studying 10-hour days, 7 days a week for 3 months straight. If you can imagine just like how much of a toll that takes on someone physically and mentally, it's a lot. And that was a filtration step. And then if you were to go down the medical journey, and if you were to even graduate from medical school, there's this period of time called residency, where you're kind of like a doctor in training. And it's incredibly brutal. It's a brutal time with very low pay. Again, another filtration step. But the point that I'm trying to make is that that's just one instance from my personal observations in life, but I'm pretty sure you guys can also see that there's many different examples in life of just filtration steps. So what do I mean when I say like step into the winner character? When I need to whip out tool number 2, I'm like telling myself I am a winner. Like the universe is testing me right now. I'm being put through a filtration step. Am I going to pass this test? It's like, how badly do you want to build this brand? How badly do you want to build this business? You say you want it, then prove it. Am I willing to push myself to rise above this flip-floppiness, waxing and waning of my emotions and thoughts, and just like, boom, higher self all the way? Am I willing to like do the dirty work and just boom, plant seeds every day? Just keep going, keep showing up. I'm going to prove to the universe that I'm the player meant for this game. Step into that character, step into it. And if you're someone who's like why? Why do we need these filtration steps? It's actually weirdly there to benefit you. Because if you're someone who can't pass the filtration step, how does the universe know you can handle that next step, the next level? Because the thing is that if we were to objectively look at life, problems don't really go away. We just trade problems for new problems. You want to go to the next level of business, you're just trading it for a new set of problems. A lot of people are like, I just want to continue growing the business, going to the next level. They think that once they get to that next level, all of their problems will go away. Rarely the case. In my first business that I scaled to 7 figures in sales, I really learned this lesson just hard. In that business, I actually hit my first 6-figure sales months within 6 months of launching that business. The funny thing is that although I hit that mark, I was actually like really freaking stressed because there was just like new problems that I was being exposed to, problems that were actually a bit tougher to solve. With great power comes great responsibility. I think that came from Spider-Man. Hopefully that was not cheesy. But it's true. In a weird way, the beginning stages of business is weirdly peaceful. Because as you grow the business, you grow your channel, you actually are being placed into a new set of problems that require more of your responsibility. And so if we were to like objectively zoom out, we show compassion to the fact that there is filtration steps, and you go, oh, that filtration step is there because it needs to be there because it's teaching me something. It's making me strengthen myself in a certain way that I didn't even know I needed to strengthen, because I have no idea that maybe this next level that I want to go to, it's going to require that skill set. It's going to require me to be a different version of myself, stronger version of myself. And so if I want that next level, I need to demonstrate to the universe that I am the person that can handle that next level. And so when I use tool number 2 and I'm like, I'm gonna step into that winner character, it just like gives me that fire, that feistiness to just like put those self-sabotaging thoughts in its place. Now, the third tool that I use in the toolbox that I think a lot of y'all are gonna be like, oh, Sam, I've heard of this before. But okay, hear me out, because I have a different take on it. Remember in the beginning of this video, I just talked about, I just feel dejected and overwhelmed because of the amount of effort that I'm pouring into each and every one of my videos. And sometimes when I get the results back and it just literally does not meet my expectations, sometimes it exceeds my expectations, but in like the other direction, like I'm just floored by how bad it can actually be. But one of the tools that I use to help me with trying to like detach as much as possible is to really see the long game. Be the freaking chess player. Think patience is key. Control is key. So remember we talked about how the universe is testing us? I think one of the big tests is like, are you someone who has the patience, the level-mindedness to play the long game? Which I've noticed requires a level of like identity detachment to your business, to your projects. It's like you kind of need to like be operating at this like higher level of like frequency. And when you're in this like Zen-like objective mind state, you're able to actually see and come up with better hypothesis reasons of why something did not take off the way you hoped for. And when I went back to my videos 2 and 3, I actually knew why. Like, I always knew why, but my emotions overrode. So I knew when I created those videos that those are what I call bottom of funnel content pieces, more niche topics that aren't really like numbers. It's not going to appeal to a really broad audience range. So, of course, it's not going to get the traction that I wanted to. And I actually do remember knowing that at the time that I initially started creating those videos. But I was like, I just want to put this out there because it is like, you know, one of my thought leadership pieces. But it was like during that process of like days and sometimes weeks of like working on that video, you start to get attached to it. And then you start like getting sucked into like, this is a banger. Like I'm pushing myself so hard on this video. It's just gonna be a banger. But now that I've like came down from just like the devastation of all of that, I'm like, no, obviously that video was a bottom of funnel content piece, which leads me to my next point. I have to recenter myself and remember of like, I don't want to just be the viral person. Like I'm trying to build a body of work on YouTube. I want to build a brand. That means building a body of work that acts like a content ecosystem. There's some content pieces that I do that is top of funnel, that has a wider audience potential. There's other content pieces that are bottom and medium of funnel. They have lower audience potential, but it's really to like deepen the relationship. And those videos started to get traction when my top of funnel video, my 4th video, started bringing in people into my world. Because now those people they're watching my other videos. So it's not like those other videos went to waste. It was almost like getting them to intimately get to know me some more. When I start to zoom out and I'm not like putting so much pressure on like one individual video, like it needs to blow up, and I'm instead thinking of like body of work, I'm building a reputation. As you can see, those words have a long-term strategy, vision, feeling associated with it. And so I like to surround myself with that type of language. Body of work, I'm building a brand, I'm building my reputation, and not like getting sucked into this like YouTube rabbit hole of all of these like gurus popping off about do this hack to blow up your channel. Do this hack to make your video go viral. Like it just puts me in such a short-term reactive mindset and gets me attached to the results, which as we discussed is not helping you. By the way, this video is sponsored by me. I have spent thousands of hours, so you don't have to, analyzing thousands of creator businesses to figure out what creates a standout brand in today's Me Too economy. I've also built a business that went on to do 7 figures in sales. You know, I gotta do that credibility builder. But that journey really taught me a lot about how to objectively analyze a niche landscape and find your strategic opening. If you are interested in working together personally with me, I encourage you to check out Project Thought Boss. I'm currently filling my founders cohort, which is currently at the lowest possible price you can ever get it, with the highest level of one-to-one support together with me. If you want to learn more, link down below. If not, no one's pressuring you. I'm not pressuring you. Now, to recap what I do during really dark, turbulent moments after I feel devastated with the results, but I need to keep pushing. The 3 tools that I have in my toolbox is number 1, I try to reframe my environment. What that means is that it's actually about sometimes showing compassion towards the situation that you're in. Understanding that sometimes on this entrepreneur path, we do not have the privilege of pressure built into the journey. And so sometimes by just knowing that and showing compassion to that, it helps us stop the spiral because it helps us not beat ourselves up that we are spiraling. Secondly, I try to reframe my identity. I start to step into that winner character instead of seeing myself as the victim of an algorithm. And instead, I get realistic and understand that life is sometimes just a game of filtration, and that this can be a test that the universe is delivering to me. Finally, I try to reframe my strategy and my vision. I shift from short-term reactive thinking into long-term strategy, like a chess player. This helps me stay even-tempered and not get derailed by small little hiccups. When I move the target of my vision into something bigger, it's easier for me to keep going because I know my purpose is to build a body of work and to build a real brand. Those things take time. Now, having the right mindset is only half the battle because it just ensures that you are the player meant for the game. However, you still need to play the game correctly. And one of the ways is creating content that the algorithm understands and that your ideal audience finds unforgettable. If you are ready to take that next step to building that strategic foundation, watch this video right here. Spoiler alert, I did in fact pick myself up, and my next video went on to just absolutely exceed my expectations, did 4,000 views, and took me from around 20 subscribers to 300 subscribers. So if you were someone that left a comment on my last video, thank you for joining the Thought Boss community. I remember every single one of you guys, forever ingrained in my memory.